Yo, Tripolar Bear. Let's talk about Blood Crucible upsides. If you want, this might be a video you maybe want to skip if you want to kind of leave the surprise there for the Blood Crucible upsides. There is value in that, and I wouldn't want to take that away from someone, that kind of feeling of discovery or that kind of like, oh, dude, you can get this on as an upside. Like, that was crazy. I didn't know that, right? Um, you know, Maybe this video is not for you if you want to kind of savor that little discoverability, hit of dopamine or whatever. But I want to get into it. I want to know what is good to Blood Crucible. For example, I want to know what I can get on my shields. How worth it is it going to be to throw my shields in that, and what am I fishing for, right? So that's kind of what we're going to go over here. I've created a list of good upsides. We'll talk a little bit about the downsides, but the downsides, I'm not going to worry too much about, because if I get something that bricks my character, then whatever, right? There's going to be things that brick, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But the upsides are what I'm going to be fishing for. Obviously, whatever. The downsides are what they are, and they're more of like a mirror image of some of the upsides, although some of them are a little bit extreme. But with that warning gone, let's get right into it. So the big stuff that I'm going to be going for right away is going to be just like extra armor and shields, right? There's extra life, evasion, energy shield, right? These are just solid. Then you see there's like some physical taken from hits as lightning damage. Also, this is in the POEDB. I'll link this down in the description. There's fizz taken as lightning, which is really nice, just extra fizz mitigation. There's going to be a reduced freeze duration effect and whatnot, so capping ailments will be easier. This is really cool. Chilling enemies for 5 seconds when hit. You can get this on amulets, which is really cool. I would have thought this would be like a shield thing, or maybe even body armor. But on amulets, you'll get 30% action speed chill when they hit you for 4 or 5 seconds. Like, that's really cool. That's really impactful. There's chance to deal triple damage. That's really, really crazy, right? And this is for one-hand weapons, although the larger tiers are on two-hand. Chance to deal triple damage is crazy, right? Because when you think about a 10% chance to deal double, that's practically 10% more damage. Triple is even wilder, but keep in mind, the chance to deal triple does not stack with double damage. So you are either choosing one or the other, practically speaking. So you can't deal double and then deal triple, right? You're dealing double or you're dealing triple. It's a one or the other. There's a chance to gain Unholy Might, which is really cool. Unholy Might giving you 30% of your physical as extra chaos. This could be really cool for maybe some poison builds that don't have access to this. Generally, Unholy Might can be got on a cluster. So maybe if you're doing some weird cluster shenanigans, that could be a cool one. Elusive Effect is like really cool. Elusive Effect is going to be super powerful this league with a chance to avoid damage. An extra 20% chance on the top is like really nice, and that's a boot mod, so that's a really nice one to get. There's minimum power charges, frenzy, and endurance. This is cool just for, maybe some endurance charge mitigation, because you can get +1/+1 on rings, and then you can get your last one. Minimum, you can get the last one right here on your ring, although it's a little bit rare. You could throw a min endurance charge ring in there that has the craft on there, and then just do another Blood Crucible on top. Like, that's really cool. Action speed cannot be modified to below up to 79. This one is like really, dude, this one is really clean. On boots, not having your action speed modified is really cool. It doesn't give you like too much, but I mean, it's going to help you out, right? If you don't have any hinder immunity or whatever, like, I think this one would be felt on your character in certain circumstances, which is really nice. The ones that I think are really crazy right now are going to be the body armor, giving Keystones. There's so many Keystones here, right, that are insanely impactful for builds. I think just fishing for random body armor Keystones is going to be very, very valuable, because right now I believe the only other way to get Keystones is from really annoying items like Skin of the Loyal or Lords. I think it's Lords is the one. It's not bad, but it's not giving you anything else, right? And I think if you could get like any influenced mod, like just a one mod influence with like life, or maybe an energy shield base or something like that, right? And then you get like a keystone on there, that's going to be like crazy valuable for very specific builds. So like, for example, getting mind over matter you could get mind over matter, and now someone is not going to have to travel all the way up to, you know, the witch area to get their mind over matter on their character, or, you know, they'd have to wear a cloak of defiance, right? Like traveling over here, if you're doing like Pathfinder stuff, this is really annoying because you're traveling all the way up here. There's like nothing here, and then you have to get mind over matter. You get some life and mana, whatever. Now, as like a Pathfinder, you know, mom, Archmage, whatever meme build, right? You could just stick it down here. You don't have to do that if you get one of those body armors. Another good example would be getting Wicked Ward. This would be incredible on a bottom left of the tree character, like General Cry or something. And if you take Eternal Youth, which would give energy shield recharge applying to life instead, that would be incredible to have on a bottom of the side, you know, tree character, because then you're not having to travel all the way up here or do some weird meme stuff to get that, right? The possibilities are endless. It has a 10 weighting, so it's not going to happen often, like at all, but still, you know, it's pretty good. All right, that's a cool thing to keep in mind. Gaining max mana as extra ES is cool, right? There's resistance ones for all the res, extra block on shields. There's huge flat damage on weapons for just like flat LE damage, chaos, or even fizz. There's increased spell damage like out the butt on wands, and it gets even higher on staves. Crit multi on amulets. You can get an extra 25 crit multi on amulets. Extra fizz dot multi rolls on wands, gets even bigger on staves. This recover life on kill is actually really, really cool. Recover life on kill for body armors, right? 4% of life on kill is huge when you're killing all those Scourge monsters constantly. So it could be a very nice form of extra recovery on your build. Life on kill is so incredible when you're clearing monsters. I think it's one of my favorite recovery methods, right? Because you kill like 15 monsters and you instantly get your life back. That's why I like playing Trickster so much in Delirium League back then, doing the simulacrums with the life, ES, and everything on kill made everything so much easier, so long as you're not getting one shot. There's extra level of socketed gems and body armors. These are like the corrupted mods, so it would be +2 duration. Instead, now it's +1 for the body armor upside, right? So they have like socketed gems, duration, you know, there's a bunch of tags there, but, you know, it's just +1 level to your body armor stuff. There's max 1 number of raised zombies and skeletons on boots, which is actually pretty cool. Getting 1 extra zombie on your boot would be like huge, right? So I think people are going to be fishing for stuff like that. And then again, extra move speed on boots. That's really nice as well. There's extra max resistance, right? You'll be able to get this on shields. The max elemental resistance is a 50 weighting, but all these other ones are like 100 on shields. So that's another really cool one, right? Just getting an extra max res there on shields is nice. The unnerve and intimidate on hit is like really, really cool, right? There's a chance to unnerve on helmets, and there's a chance to intimidate on belts. So this could be a source of you getting unnerve. I know Blade Blast used to provide unnerve. I think its Hunter Gloves provide unnerve as well. But that can be a little annoying to get if you want to use excuse me, if you want to use any other influence mod on your gloves. This one on belts is like pretty cool. And then, for example, Shield Crush, you won't have to get that on your cluster, or you won't have to get an awakened melee physical. So just little things like that are cool, you know, little min maxes. There's all the curses on hit for gloves, so that's already a corruption, but you can then get it in a crucible as well, which is pretty cool. There's endurance charge, right, on kill. So all your charges can be got like on kill, which is really nice. So, you know, that's just an extra little bonus for rings, right? All the rings seem to have like all the charge kind of stuff, which is cool. Oh, gloves can get trap and mind throw speed. That's really cool. What I think is actually really insane, on bows and quivers, you can get bow attack fires and additional arrow. That's cool. But when you look at quiver mods, skills chain +1 times, projectiles pierce 2 targets, and then there's a projectiles split towards +1 targets. It's 5 weighting, so it's incredibly rare. But this stuff is crazy, crazy good, right? On quivers, and this would apply to non-bow projectile attacks, which is really nice because, and I assume they're making it intended that way as like a sort of chase item or something. But it seemed like for a while there, they didn't want spellcasters to just be using bows and quivers because a quiver gives, 90 life in addition to whatever compared to a staff. But now there's this mod here where you can get projectile split. Now it's one split, which isn't too crazy, but it's one of the only sources of split in the game outside of Sniper's Mark and Fury Valve. Sniper's Mark being a little annoying to apply sometimes. So now you could get a split and then you could get a chain somewhere else, right? So that's actually really big, right? Because then your projectile splits into two, and then each of those two splits are going to chain into two. So that's really, really, really impactful. But it is a really rare mod. It's just something cool. There's also attack projectiles return. So you could get this, returning from final target, which is really nice. And that could actually boost your single target, as I believe a projectile that is traveling can chain into a boss, but once it's returning, it could then chain again because there's a chain check. If this makes sense for anyone, it's weird nerd stuff for PoE projectile behavior, but your projectile can chain towards an enemy and it could chain on the return as well, from my understanding. So that's really cool, right? So this could be a nice way to get a projectile return on your build, but only for attack projectiles. But still, that is really, really cool, and you wouldn't have to use your anointment for the projectile return behavior. Another cool one are the percent increased attributes. There's strength, dex, and int on amulets. This is huge for the stat stackers. It's definitely going to be some stuff that's going to be like crazy, right? Towards the end of the league, getting a good stat stacking amulet with another 6-7% or whatever roll you get increased attribute on your amulet is going to go for tens and tens of exalts, maybe even hundreds, depending on how well the pre-scourged amulet was. There's fizz conversion for all of the different elements and whatnot on gloves, which is cool. On helmets, they've added, this is a little bit of a downside, a little bit of an upside. They've added the kind of helmet mod that we could already get from Influence, where you take, or nearby enemies take increased damage, or they have minus resistance. You can get that again on helmets, except it comes with a little bit of a downside. The fizz one is increased physical damage taken, but then nearby enemies take increased fizz damage. It's this way for elements as well, except for the elements, it's minus resistance. So it's a little bit better for the elemental builds, because the fizz one, this is like taking an endurance charge away. And then this is like taking away 3 res, right? Like, who cares about three res, right? But taking an endurance charge away, that really does suck. But for the armor stackers, it's not going to be that big of a deal at all. Nearby enemies, yeah, like that's cool for helmets and whatnot. The impale effect on weapons is going to be really cool. An extra 18% impale effect is actually crazy. This is huge. This is some good moddage here. So this is some really good stuff, but it's specific to weapons. So I'm going to be throwing weapons in my Blood Crucible, trying to fish for stuff like this. On amulets, there's increased mana reservation efficiency on skills, which is really nice. And then there's leech for amulets as well. All of cold damage, leech his life. There's all the elements, right? Cold, fire, you have lightning, you even have chaos. And then you have physical, which is really cool as well. This could be a source of physical spell leech, which is very, very nice. Whereas there's normally a lot of sources of physical attack damage. This is just physical damage, so this could work for spells as well. Whereas finding physical damage leeches life is normally very difficult. I think it's like at Zeri Belt, and then maybe like some delve mods. I really don't think there are many other ways to get physical leech. Maybe there's like a influence ring or something, but this is a cool one that you could kind of just like look for after, a couple days, maybe a few weeks pass on a second build. You could just try to find an amulet that has this and maybe a little bit of life, right? That's really cool. Again, there's more keystones, right? Every keystone on the tree seems to be found on body armors, which is really, really cool. It's just leading up for, some crazy body armors. On gloves and helmets, there's socketed gems supported by stuff. So socketed gems supported by lightning damage. It's only for gloves. And then there's some helmet mods down here where there's body armors, which is nice. There's helmets that provide +1 level of socketed strength gems and whatnot. Body armors could provide herald skills. Quivers can give sniper mark. And then there's some fish memes and map stuff. Generally, the upsides, really cool, right? These are some crazy upsides. Very, very nice. Let's talk quickly about downsides, right? There's so many good upsides. Now, the downsides are near mirror images, right? They're increasing strength attribute requirements. They're stopping you from blocking, critting, evading, taking away resistances, taking away life and energy shield, global defense. You can't deal damage with stuff, taking away minion things, right? But there are a couple downsides that could be upsides right off the top of my head. Now, I can't think of all of them. Like, maybe there are certain circumstances where, like, not dealing a certain element would be really good for your build or something. But some of these are cursing you with a specific curse, which is actually, like, pretty cool, right? Cursing you with a curse, for example, like temp chains, could be a nice way to curse yourself with temp chains if you need to extend buff duration on yourself without having to do the meme ring, like what is it, blood something. It's something like that, but then it has reduced effect. You won't have to do the oh man, what are those gloves? You know, the gloves for the self cursors, right? Those meme gloves where you have to, like, then hit with the curse or something like that. It just curses you, right? You are cursed with Enfeeble. You are cursed with the Ele weakness. These could be really good, right? Cursing yourself with elemental weakness would be nice for, well, it would have been nice for Deep Delvers. I don't know how the Deep Delvers are coping this league. We'll have to see. But, like, minusing your resistances up into a point for the Replica Nebulous, even though it's a minus 200 cap now. Little things like that. I could see, like, maybe increasing cold damage or physical damage taken for, like, hitting cast and damage taken loops, like certain thresholds or something. Maybe little things like that. Some of the downsides could be upsides. Right? Maybe there's a circumstance where hitting an enemy with extra additional fire res, could be an upside, but otherwise is not impactful at all. But some of them could be good. Okay. Right. The minus charges, if you're doing any of the minus charge weapons or any of those memes, not dealing certain specific elements could be really good. For example, like maybe, I guess for EE, it doesn't matter anymore, but that would have been a good example of just not dealing damage with an element. But yeah, I just want to talk about the cool stuff really quick, give some ideas, give some hope for cool things to fish towards. And again, I'll link this down in the description. It's cool to read through. Control F shield, see what you can get on the Blood Crucible and shields. I know I'm going to be scourging a lot of shields today. But anyways, I'll catch you guys later. Subscribe if you like it. I'll see you guys on Twitch. All right, bye.